everybody, I am outside of my garden today and I thought I'd shoot a quick little video answering a couple of questions I have had from some of my friends about how they can start their own vegetable garden at home. Basically there are three different types of vegetable gardens that you can have. There's the traditional garden bed like what we have, there's raised beds, and there's different things that you can grow inside in containers and pots as well. In a few minutes I'll actually show you guys our microgreen room and tell you guys how you can start with that. But anyway, let's start first with the regular traditional garden bed. If you have a nice area, nice sunny open area, you will want to till up the ground first, and then you'll want to do a soil test. Soil testing is very, very important. That will tell you if you are deficient in anything in your garden. You want to make sure that the pH level is between 6.3 and 6.8. That's kind of like the sweet spot for basically anything to grow. Another tip I want to share with you is to see how your potassium level is. My husband and I had no idea how important potassium is in a soil. And corn, for instance, will not grow well. This right here is, at the end there is corn. Corn will not grow well if the potassium is too low. And we had no idea. And we figured out that's why our corn hasn't been growing. So make sure you check the potassium level first. Now, after you test your pH level and you check the potassium level, you can actually use any at-home test kit to do that. You can buy them at Lowe's or Home Depot, any garden supply store. You can order them off the internet. Or like what we did was we took some soil samples and we took it to Southern States and they tested it for $10 and they just emailed us the result. Now when you take your soil test for anything, you want to do it kind of in almost like a star shape. You want to go in each of the four corners of your garden and take a little bit from the center as well, because you're not going to plant in just one spot, and the pH level could be different in one spot versus another spot. So that kind of covers all of your boundaries there to make it a lot easier. Now, if your pH level is too low, you'll need to add fertilizer that has the nitrogen in it that will bring your pH level, your level up a little bit and kind of get your pH well. And that's what we did. Our pH level was actually perfect, but we were low in potassium. So we found some fertilizer that was rich in potassium, but it was also rich in nitrogen. So what we did was we used the fertilizer and then we put down lime to help make it a little bit more alkaline. We tilled everything up and then it was perfect. So we laid down the fabric here. The fabric helps to bring in more sunlight because it's black, and it also helps to cut down on weeding. We have two small children. My husband works full-time, 10 to 14-hour days most of the time, and I don't have hours and hours to spend outside weeding the garden. And we grow, as you can see, this is just the vegetables that we grow. We have vines too, and we also have trees that I have to keep weeded and maintained, and there's just no way to do that with the time limit that I have. So we have found that this is the perfect way for us to do it. So you just put down the fabric, and we use staples for the seams to make sure that the wind didn't blow it all up, and it's been working perfect. We really enjoy doing it that way. And when we cut the holes in it to put in the plants, we kind of make like almost like a cross shape. It helps to have a nice big area to where you can stick the plant in the way it needs to be and cover it up, and also allow some air to get in there too. So the second kind of garden that you can do is a raised bed. Raised beds are becoming super popular because you don't have to have a tiller. You don't have to have much equipment at all to do it. All you'll need is a nice sunny area. It doesn't even have to be very big. It depends on how many vegetables you want to grow. You don't need a very big area. You just need to get some lumber, and you build like a rectangle shape. Make sure it's as deep as you need it to be, and then you put the soil in it, and that's pretty much it. Then you can plant whatever you need. Now I will tell you that if you do a raised bed, you need to make sure you still need to get your soil tested. You may not think you need to because the soil is prepackaged. It should be already ready to go. It's not. You need to make sure you get it tested. My mom, she has a raised bed, and last year she was having the worst time trying to get anything to grow. Turns out she ended up having to add in some fertilizer. Once she added in the fertilizer, you wouldn't believe all the cucumbers she was able to get out of her garden after that. It was wonderful. This right here is a book that I have. It's a great resource for doing raised beds, called Maximizing Your Mini Farm. This has been my favorite book. It has information on growing all different kinds of vegetables in your raised bed, way to space them out. It also talks about soil testing and how to do that. It's a really great resource. This book is by Brett L. Markham, and it's great. I have recommended this book to I don't know how many of my gardening friends, because even though we don't do raised beds, the information in this book will definitely help you in your regular garden too. It has definitely helped us. My husband gave it to me for Christmas a couple of years ago, and it has wonderful information. Now, if you want to come with me, I'm going to go into the house and I'll show you guys our microgreen room. So this is our microgreen room here. We keep it nice and dark, and we only have the lights going, and that's what we found has been the best for growing different things. All we use is a metal rack. As you can see, we have our equipment way up high here. I'm actually sitting on the floor, so it's not actually as tall as it seems, but it is pretty tall, with multiple shelves, with multiple lights rigged up on here. Back there is actually our container with our dirt in it. And if you grow vegetables such as microgreens or any other kinds of greens inside, you're going to need a nice dark closed off room. That way you can keep everything out of here and make sure that a lot of light doesn't get in, because you don't want a whole lot of other light. You only want the lights you're using for growing. Now, most people, when they grow in containers, will use grow lights. We found that it was not necessary. Grow lights can be extremely damaging to eyes, so we opted not to use them. We tried using them for a little while, but the kids liked the purple light that came off of it, and you could see it underneath the doors, and we were just scared that they would end up damaging their eyesight. So we opted not to use them. Instead, we just use regular shop lights, and we use the daylight bulb, and we haven't had any issues. We've been growing microgreens like this for months now, for probably 4 or 5 months, and never had any issues. We haven't noticed any difference in the way they grow by using that. We have a fan going right there that helps blow air all around to kind of simulate the air outside. And because we are inside and these use a lot of water, we have a dehydrator here, dehumidifier I mean, and this helps to suck all the moisture out so that we don't have excess moisture in the room, make the rest of the house hot and humid as well, and this has been very helpful too. So all we did was use a regular metal, like a shop rack. We got it, I think, at Home Depot, and we just rigged it up with the daylight bulbs, with the lights. We have our dirt in the container back there. I just have to come in and check on them. I like growing vegetables this way because you don't have to worry about anything outside. I can do this when it's raining, I can do this when it's storming, I can do this when it's freezing cold, I can do it when it's snowing, and still have fresh, healthy vegetables for me, for the family, and of course for us to sell on our farm. So there you have it. There's the 3 basic types of vegetable gardens that you can do. I hope you find one that's suitable for you.